Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Patricia, and today I want to tell you about why I became the legal guardian for an elderly relative. This video contains no legal or medical advice. This is just my experiences over the past 2 years being a guardian. So, approximately 2 years ago, I received a text from my relative's best friend saying, "Please call. We have a problem. I need to talk to you right away." So, of course, I called. He proceeded to tell me that my relative had been financially exploited, and he really didn't have as much information as I needed um, about this situation, but he did have the name and phone number of the social worker who was involved in the case. So I rang her and we chatted for over 2 hours about this situation. And what had happened is that um, a while before this started, my relative created a new will and a new power of attorney. Actually, he had never had a power of attorney before, so that was brand new. But he updated his will. And um, this POA had been going to my relative's brokerage firm asking for a check to be cut from my relative's brokerage account for over $250,000. The brokerage firm said, "No, we're not doing it. This is not how we work. Go away." So, and they had tried multiple times in multiple months to get the brokerage firm to write this check, but they refused until they brought my relative in, who then, in front of them, requested this check for $275,000. They tried to talk him out of it. He wouldn't hear about it. And so they had to cut the check. Now it gets even better. So they finally get the check. My relative signs the back. Then the then another person signs the back. Not only do they sign the back, but they take it to the bank. And not only the bank, but they take it to the same bank and the same branch that my relative banks at. So they all bank at the same bank. The teller, who knows my relative for over 50 years, said, "Something's wrong. This is not right. This is not the way he would normally do things." And she flagged it. And then the bank manager came out, they flagged it. Um, and they said, we're not cashing this check. We're not doing anything with this check. Well, the the people who tried to deposit it took the check back, went to another branch that didn't know them, and deposited it into their account. Luckily, the bank had already flagged it, so it was only in there for like a hot minute. It was not in there for long. Um, and then the bank said, "No, we're not going to accept it." So the funds actually went back to his brokerage account as cash. And so she's telling me all this, and I'm like, "This can't be true. This is crazy. This is a crazy story. No way." She said, "Nope, I have all the documentation. Uh, Come and see it. You need to come up here right away and take care of this situation. You need to become your relative's legal guardian." And I'm like, "Well, what does that mean? I don't know what a legal guardian does. I've never done it." And she was like, "Well, you will be in charge of their life." And I was like, "Oh, I don't know if I want to do that." She was like, "What?" I'm like, "Well, to be truthful, before being his legal guardian, we were not close. His branch of the family was not close with the rest of the family." And I was like, "Geez, do I want to really be responsible for someone else's life?" I had already done it with my dad before he passed away. And I was like, do I really want to do this again? This is an awful lot of work. And um, I said, I got to take the weekend to think about it. So I had dinner with my family that weekend. I tell them the whole story. They think it's just as crazy as I do. And my family was like, well, if you do take it on, you will just run it like any other project you've ever run in your entire life, and you'll be fine. Said if anyone in the family can or will do it, it's going to be you. And the more we talked, the more I realized that yes, I was going to become their legal guardian. Um, Mainly because I didn't want him to be exploited again. It's not fair. Um, so I'm like, all right, I'm going to do it. I get into work on Monday and I talk to my boss because I'm like, hey, I have to take some time off and go to um, my relative city and file for legal guardianship. And then, of course, she wanted all the info because, we were chit chatting about it. And so I told her everything. She was just as astonished as I was at the beginning. And she said, listen, it's family, do what you have to do. She's a great boss. I can't thank her enough for everything that she did. So I flew up the Tuesday after, and here I am thinking I could do it all. I have no problem. I march my little butt right into that courthouse and I find the right office. I go in and go, hey, I want to become the emergency guardian of my relative. And they're like, yeah. I was like, uh oh. How do I do that? And they're like, do you have a lawyer? I'm like, no. They were like, oh no. They were like, okay, fill out this form. So I take the form, I fill it out, uh, come back, and they're like, okay, give us a few, we'll get a judge to see you shortly. Half hour later, the judge comes out, and I swear to tell the truth, they read over my report, and he says, no, I'm not giving you the emergency guardianship. And I'm like, but hey, wait, I came all this way. He's like, too bad. But the good thing about this was he set a date like a month later where we were going to have an actual hearing. And we could all tell our stories and show our paperwork and why my relative needed a guardian. So I'm like, all right, okay, that's not bad. Um, One other thing they did, which was fantastic, was they appointed for my relative an attorney called a guardian ad litem. And their sole job is to be an advocate for the person that you're going to try and declare incompetent. Because that's basically what I was doing. I was saying that my relative was no longer competent enough to handle their affairs and needed someone else to do it for them. So it was great because she's a wonderful person. She's still involved and um, she really looks out for my relative, which is fantastic. Um, so once they decided I wasn't going to get the emergency guardianship and that they set the other hearing up, the staff at the courthouse is like, all right, you now need to um, take all the paperwork and make copies and find the sheriff, pay a fee, and have the sheriff serve all the people. And I was like, what? I was an idiot. I will never go to a courthouse again without a lawyer, ever. Um, it was crazy, but I did it. Of course, they had no copier for public use at the courthouse. I had to find the library, run over the library, make all the copies, get envelopes, dress all the envelopes, get to the sheriff, pay a fee. Actually, the easiest part of the whole thing was going to the sheriff for the process serving. And it was just a crazy morning. And as I said, I will never go to a courthouse without a lawyer again. Um, so that is the why I became a guardian. I did not want my relative exploited by anyone else. And it's just not fair. Um, my relative has lived a good life. They're a good person, and they did not need to have any funds or money stolen from them. So that's why I became one. And it's been a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you got some insight out of it. And I'll see you on the next video.